We are very glad that Bhakti Vikas Swami has finally come out, after many, many years, to complain about some of the symptoms of the ISKCON institution. There's many problems which would indicate that the leaders of ISKCON are not following the instructions of the founder of ISKCON, namely A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And so Bhakti Vikas Swami has begun to enumerate some of the symptoms of the leaders not following. But the first problem we have with Bhakti Vikas Swami is that he is himself voted in and certified as a guru by the same leaders that he's condemning. He's condemning the ISKCON leaders. They have no realization of what Prabhupada wanted and ordered, and yet he himself has got a guru rubber stamp from the same people, and he's working within the institution of the people that he condemns as being materialistic, as being unable to liberate anyone, as being unable to make others Krishna conscious, and so on and so forth. He has many valid complaints, but he hasn't explained so far why he is within that institution. Why is he working amongst and with those individuals, and why has he done so for so many years? And the first problem, of course, is that these leaders claimed that they had been appointed, at least 11 of them had claimed that they had been appointed as the guru's successors to Srila Prabhupada, and no evidence has ever been shown that these people were appointed as gurus. In fact, Satsvarup Swami recently said that it was the GBC that appointed the gurus in 1978. They were not appointed as gurus by Srila Prabhupada. So if this body is defective, how could they have voted in gurus in 1978, as Satsvarup now claims? Bhakti Vikas Swami has never explained why he's gone along with the idea that Prabhupada appointed conditioned souls, defective people, as Krishna's successors. If people are defective and they're not God conscious, and they have all the problems that Bhakti Vikas Swami is enumerating now, then how could they be gurus? And how could he have gone along with their claim that they are gurus? And why isn't he addressing the main issue that these people are not gurus? He's saying they have all these defects, but he's not really coming around and saying, okay, because they have these defects, therefore they were never appointed as gurus in the first place. So he's making it look like Prabhupada made a big mistake. Prabhupada made the mistake of appointing conditioned souls and defective souls as Krishna's successors. So he's still blaming Prabhupada, or allowing Prabhupada to be blamed, however you want to look at it, for all of these problems that are now manifesting in ISKCON. Prabhupada made a mistake. He didn't know what a guru is, therefore he appointed people who were not qualified to be guru as gurus and as God's successors. However, to be God's successor, one has to be as pure as God. God is pure. His successor must be pure. And yet the whole theme of ISKCON since 1978 is that God's successors have all kinds of problems. God's successors are taking drugs. God's successors are having illicit sex. God's successors are running after prostitutes. God's successors are having all kinds of difficulties. And this started in 1980 when the GBC wrote a paper called The Mahajans Have Difficulties, where they said God's greatest devotees, purest devotees, are having difficulties. They're having all these problems. And Bhakti Vikas Swami has gone along with this program, and he's never really explained that the great souls, the Mahajans, and pure devotees and gurus are not going to have these problems. So where was he in 1980? In 1980, when this paper was written by Satsvarup and Jagadish and Jayaveda, the Mahajans have difficulties. Why didn't he protest? Why didn't he say, wait a minute, we can't be condemning the Mahajans. We can't say the Mahajans are an illusion. We have to protest that. No, he's not protesting. He still isn't protesting. I still don't hear him coming out and saying all these papers that were written by the bogus leaders of ISKCON over the years, which have said that gurus fall down, gurus have problems, gurus become hopelessly entangled in sense gratification. These are all kinds of papers written by the leaders of ISKCON. We don't hear Bhakti Vikas Swami really coming out and condemning all of these issues, and these are the root issues. This is the root issue. All these other problems are a symptom of the root issue. The root issue is gurus are not conditioned souls. That's the root problem. He's not addressing the root problem. In fact, Bhakti Vikas Swami is making the problem worse. He's more or less saying that gurus make all these mistakes. Gurus are out making a mundane religion out of ISKCON. Gurus are out having sex with prostitutes in Thailand. Gurus are doing all these deviant things. He's creating that impression. Does he not know that gurus are not engaged in these things? Well, how come he never brings it down to the root issue? This is not the behavior of a guru. Now, in 1978, the GBC said that Sridhar Maharaj is the senior-most Vaishnava on the planet, and he's ISKCON's Shiksha Guru. And then in 1982, the GBC said anybody who associates with Sridhar Maharaj is a demon who needs to be kicked out of ISKCON. Why didn't Bhakti Vikas say, excuse me, but who started the whole idea that we were supposed to consult with Sridhar Maharaj in the first place? How did we get to this point where he's been writing all kinds of papers for the GBC? The GBC has been consulting with him. And now all of a sudden, he's a demon who should never have been consulted in the first place. So in 1980, the GBC made a tape with Sridhar Maharaj, where Sridhar Maharaj said, we need to keep Tamal and Hansaduta in the post of Guru in ISKCON. And that tape was sent to all the temples. All the temples got a tape of Sridhar Maharaj saying we need to keep these guys in the position of Guru. But then in 1982, the GBC sent another tape to all the temples saying no one's allowed to consult with Sridhar Maharaj, and if anybody even visits with Sridhar Maharaj, they're going to be banned from ISKCON. So where was Bhakti Vikas when all these things were going on? Why didn't he say, excuse me, who's in charge? Who's in charge of making all these policies here? How come we keep reversing our policy here? First of all, we say someone's our Shiksha Guru and the senior-most Vaishnava on the planet. Then, a couple of years later, we say this person is a demon and no one is allowed to consult with this person. Doesn't he realize that you can't just go around declaring that someone is an acharya or the senior-most advisor, and then the next year or not even a year later sometimes, this person is a demon and no one should consult with this person? Doesn't he realize that by whipsawing back, thousands of people, saying that thousands of people need to follow this person as a pure devotee, and then you tell all these same thousands of people they can't follow this person anymore? Doesn't he realize that this is going to break up those people individually, and they're going to have a tendency to just have no faith in the entire management and leadership of ISKCON? If ISKCON is one day saying this is a pure devotee and the next day saying this person is a demon, then who's going to have faith in management that does those things? But this was already going on way back in the early 80s, but we never heard Bhakti Vikas saying anything about that. Instead, he was propping up the GBC, and he was trying to get voted in as a guru by the GBC. And eventually he was. Now, every time a guru, so-called guru, leaves ISKCON, thousands of people leave at the same time, because they either leave with him and start some kind of a separate cult, which is what happened with Jayatirtha, or they just leave because they're disgusted that they had been worshiping a so-called pure devotee who was being propped up by the GBC, and then they find out this person is not a pure devotee. So, what about these people? We're talking about the lives of people, the lives of devotees, actually. And what about the thousands of children who were molested in ISKCON? Now, Bhakti Vikas Swami is very concerned that ISKCON has become a Hindu organization. Okay, fine. Why is that happening? It's happening because all the rest of the devotees were kicked out. All the senior devotees were kicked out. The Guru Kulis were fried, so they're all gone. So who's left? The only people left now to bring money into the temples is the Hindus. So it's becoming a Hindu business. Okay, we all know it's becoming a Hindu business, but Bhakti Vikas doesn't address the root issue. Why has it become a Hindu business? The reason it has become a Hindu business is because all of the rest of the manpower was driven out. And so now, out of desperation, all the GBC's got left is to bring in Hindu weddings and Hindu, car blessings and all kinds of things like that. He doesn't address the people issue. He doesn't address the suffering of all the people who were, whose lives were destroyed because of the policies that were promoted by Bhakti Vikas Swami. Bhakti Vikas promoted the policies which destroyed the lives of these people. So he's always seems to be talking about the symptom, but not the root issue, not the cause, and what about the people? He doesn't seem to have much sympathy for all the people who are victims of his program and his policy, which he supported. And now he's worried about the Hindus are taking over. Well, the Hindus are taking over because you, Bhakti Vikas Swami, have supported a policy of driving everybody else out. So you have to address that issue, that your policy doesn't work. Your policy destroys the lives of the devotees. Your policy destroys the lives of the children of ISKCON. Your policy that you supported has made ISKCON into a ghost town. Even in 1988, Lokanath Swami was saying, how come all the temples are empty? The temples are ghost towns. Lokanath wrote that in his Vyasa Puja offering in 1988. Where is everybody? So you've all known this for all along, that the temples are becoming empty. Everybody is fried. Everybody's disgusted with your bogus gurus, and everybody's leaving, and therefore, ISKCON is replacing those people out of desperation by bringing in Hindu business, making a showing of the deity business out of the Hindus. So that's going on. Why is that going on? That's the problem. Bhakti Vikas doesn't address why are these things going on. And then after the Gaudiya Math program started, then people spun off from ISKCON, like Tripurari and many other senior devotees of ISKCON. They ran off to the Gaudiya Math. Why did they run up to the Gaudiya Math? Because you, Mr. Bhakti Vikas, and your program led them to the Gaudiya Math. Your people said they have to go to the Gaudiya Math, so they all went to Sridhar. And then when you said Sridhar is a demon, well, they just kept on. They stayed. Jayatirtha and Tripurari and Jagat Guru Swami and many others. They just said, hey, you know what? We're just going to stay with Sridhar. You guys, first of all, said he was a pure devotee, so you put us in his camp, and now we're just going to stay in his camp. Why should we go back to your camp? Which is so confused in the first place. So you've created ISKCON's own competition. You, Mr. Bhakti Vikas Swami, and your policy has spawned a gigantic competition for ISKCON. The Narayan Maharaj program is huge compared to a lot of the GBC's programs, at least. So why do we have this big Narayan Maharaj problem and a big Sridhar Maharaj problem? Because you and your people led everyone to those Gaudiya Math people. So this is creating another question, really. First of all, you say someone is a pure devotee, he's another Jesus. Sridhar Maharaj is a pure devotee, he's like Jesus. And then all of a sudden you say, no, he's actually Satan. Sridhar Maharaj is Satan, you can't go there. Of course, naturally, that's going to create a tremendous amount of confusion. So this begs the question, are you creating this confusion on purpose? Because Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam that the demons make confusion on purpose. They'll set a fire somewhere, and when all the population is confused, running around trying to put out the fire, then they go and steal everything. So, are you guys doing this on purpose? And then you said, Narayan Maharaj is the next Jesus, and then all of a sudden he was a demon, and no one could go there. This keeps happening. So, it creates a lot of confusion, and in the confusion, it seems like the GBC leaders make out like bandits. They all, they have a big car, big house, living in San Luis Obispo or some places like that. They've got, many servants, a lot of food, a lot of money, no problem with their medical expenses and everything else, and all the rest of the people are just confused and destroyed in so many ways. So that's one question that comes up. Are you doing this on purpose? Saying, here's a pure devotee, and then, nope, here's a demon. Jayatirtha is a pure devotee. Nope, he's a demon. Hansaduta is a pure devotee. No, he's a demon. Harikesh is a pure devotee. No, he's a demon. Every time that happens, ISKCON gets, damaged severely, but the people promoting all this make out like bandits. Now, Gaur Govinda Maharaj was another person who had the idea that we should oppose the GBC, simultaneously work with the GBC. So he told me he's working with them. He's going to cooperate, tolerate, and work with the GBC. Simultaneously, he says the GBC is Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga has infiltrated the GBC. Kali Yuga is at the top management levels of ISKCON. So how's that going to work? We're going to be, simultaneously opposing Kali Yuga, simultaneously cooperating, tolerating, and working with Kali Yuga. This makes no sense. Even the Bible says you can't serve two masters. You can't serve Jesus and Satan at the same time. You have to make a choice.
You can't say, I'm going to serve Satan, and that's how I'm going to serve Jesus. This is not how it works. I'm going to serve Maya, and that's how I'm going to serve Krishna. No, that's not our philosophy. You have to make a decision. This is the whole point of the Bhagavad Gita. You have to choose one side or the other. You're going to fight with the Pandavas, or you're going to fight with the Kauravas. You can't fight on both sides simultaneously. So this is the problem we're having with people like Bhakti Vikas Swami, Govinda Swami, even Atreya Rishi. Atreya told me, I'm going to work with the GBC. Simultaneously, I'm going to oppose the GBC. And look what happened to him. He just gave up on the whole Christian religion. He told me the Christian religion is a waste of time. So that's what happens when you try to serve both ideas simultaneously. I look at Satsvarup. Satsvarup says, on the one hand, gurus are pure devotees. Simultaneously, he says gurus are, having sex with their therapist. How can gurus be simultaneously pure devotees at the same time having sex with their therapist? You have to make a decision. You have to make one idea. But so what's happening with Bhakti Vikas Swami, he's compromised with the people who have made the post of Acharya into a very debauched and degraded position. Jayaveda Swami says gurus have sex with men, women, and children, illicit sex with men, women, and children. That's what gurus are doing, and Bhakti Vikas is pals with Jayaveda. Well, you can't simultaneously be with Prabhupada, who is saying it's a severe offense to say gurus are having illicit sex. Simultaneously, you're shaking hands with and embracing the people who say acharyas are having illicit sex with men, women, and children. And this is why I've argued that even my neighbor's cat, Mr. Snuffles is my neighbor's cat. Well, Mr. Snuffles is not engaged in illicit sex with men, women, and children, so he is more advanced than the acharya standard of ISKCON. How can a cat be more advanced than the acharyas? But this is what Bhakti Vikas Swami has compromised with. And this is the program he's supporting and tolerating and working with. He's working with people who are saying a cat is more advanced than the residents of Krishna Loka. The house cat in the United States is more advanced than the residents of Krishna Loka. This is what they've come down to now. So why is Bhakti Vikas Swami working with that idea? Cooperating with that idea, tolerating that idea, promoting that idea. Jayapataka is one of the main people responsible for all the molesting in Mayapur. He supported Bhavananda, he supported Satadanya, he supported Nitai Chand. The place is just crawling with molesters. All kinds of children are being molested there. And then I see Bhakti Vikas with his head on Jayapataka's lap. And he's kind of hugging Jayapataka. It's just, you're working with these people, you're cooperating with these people, and simultaneously you're opposing these people. That's not how it works. That's not how, and because people have compromised with the people who are bringing in molesters into Mayapur, therefore all this molesting goes on. No one's coming out and opposing it, because Bhakti Vikas Swami is not really addressing the root issue. You cannot cooperate with the people who are bringing molester acharyas into ISKCON and into the holy dham of Mayapur. Mayapur is supposed to be our holy dham. So we're worshiping child molesters there as acharyas. What's going to happen? You become what you worship. You become what you worship. So if ISKCON is worshiping child molesters, then ISKCON is going to have molesters coming out of its ears. You become what you worship. Bhakti Vikas doesn't even understand the basic principle of the Bhagavad Gita. You become what you worship. If you worship the demons, you become a demon. If you worship the demigods, you become a demigod. If you worship the child molesters, then you become them. You become part of their program. And that's what's happened to ISKCON. And it's happened to ISKCON because of people like Bhakti Vikas Swami promoting this program. He is responsible. And he's not taking responsibility. That is the first problem. He has to come out and say, okay, all of these problems in ISKCON have happened because of me, because I have compromised with this program. Now, Prabhupada wanted us, devotees, to be on television, preaching about Krishna to millions of people. He wanted the devotees to be doing positive preaching. Instead, what happens is, devotees are getting murdered, and then the television is coming to me, asking me how come devotees are being murdered in ISKCON. And so what happened is that I'm being interviewed by CBS News, and this is being seen by 23 million people, me being interviewed with people asking me questions, why are devotees being murdered in ISKCON? So why did this happen? Why is CBS News coming to me asking why devotees are being murdered in ISKCON? Because Bhakti Vikas Swami is promoting the program that is creating all these murders. That's what's happening. So he is creating this publicity by promoting that program. So he's doing the exact opposite of what Prabhupada wanted.
Then Bhakti Vikas Swami is worried that the Hindus are coming to ISKCON. Well, he's lucky the Hindus are even coming to ISKCON. After all the publicity that Bhakti Vikas Swami has generated with murders and beatings and molesting and all the other problems that he has created by promoting this program, he's lucky that any Hindu even walks in the door of ISKCON right now at all. He's lucky that ISKCON has any support at all. He's lucky that ISKCON hasn't just folded up and become a zero and just gone bankrupt and emptied out and there would be nothing left. He's lucky there is nothing left. It's a miracle there is nothing left. The program Bhakti Vikas Swami is promoting is destroying ISKCON. And then he wonders why the only people left supporting it are Hindus. Well, the only people left supporting it are Hindus because they don't know how bad things are in ISKCON. They don't know how bad it is and how hard it is for the devotees who want to worship Prabhupada. Anyone who wants to worship Prabhupada is demonized, criticized, harassed, driven out, beaten up, shot, killed. That's what happens. As soon as you say, I want to worship Prabhupada, bam. You are a demon. You are the enemy. You have to go. You are beaten up. You are kicked out. You are threatened with death. Why is Bhakti Vikas Swami making an environment where anyone who wants to worship Prabhupada is being beaten and banned and killed? That is what he's supporting. Then he wonders why there's no devotees around. Then he wonders why ISKCON is having problems. Well, if you can't worship Jesus in the church, if anybody who wants to worship Jesus in the church is being banned, beaten, killed, then nobody's going to be in the church worshiping Jesus. Hello? Doesn't he understand this? The reason that the churches are full of people worshiping Jesus is because worship of Jesus is allowed. ISKCON, has made it against the law. You can't worship Prabhupada. The Prabhupada worshippers are driven out. And then even after they're driven out, they're being sued. They're being sued. Well, who's supporting the lawsuit against the Prabhupada devotees? Well, Bhakti Vikas is. Now, ISKCON is spending $15 million suing the devotees of Prabhupada. And how did that happen? That happened because Bhakti Vikas Swami supported the people who are suing the devotees. Look what happens. As soon as Madhu Pandit says, we're going to worship Prabhupada here, boom, $15 million is being spent by Bhakti Vikas's friends. Why is Bhakti Vikas friends with the people who are suing the devotees of Prabhupada? They're making it a criminal act to worship Prabhupada. They means Bhakti Vikas. He is part of that program. He is making it illegal. You can't worship Prabhupada. We'll sue you. We'll beat you. We'll ban you. And if that doesn't work, we'll kill you. What kind of program is that? Why is he supporting that program? And why is he not only supporting that program and then turning around and asking, well, why is no one in the temple anymore? I mean, how foolish is that? You are driving them out of the temple. You are suing them out of the temple. You are having them banned. You are having them beaten. You are having them shot. That is what your program is doing. And then you turn around and wonder why no one is in the temple anymore. They're not in the temple because of you, Mr. Bhakti Vikas Swami. The temples are empty because of you and your policy. And just look what happened to Indra. Indra was writing a book, and he was criticizing all the GBC policies, appointed gurus, voted in gurus, and all these other things. And he was on the verge of being kicked out. Even a great kirtan devotee like Indra, they have to remove him. You got to go. We don't want you here. He was lecturing about these things, and Gopal Krishna came up and, tried to grab the microphone away from him. That's the kind of people you're supporting. Anyone who glorifies Prabhupada, anyone who, wants to see the higher standard of guru is harassed, is checked, is driven out. And who does Gopal Krishna have? Well, apparently he has people who are molesting men in the temple there. That's the kind of people he has in his temple. According to a police report, someone is being molested, homosexually assaulted in Gopal Krishna's program. And this devotee took it to the attention of the leaders of ISKCON, and nothing happened. So he had to go to the police. Umapati was molesting men.
Bhavananda, okay, another homosexual. You got all these homosexuals in the Bhakti Vikas program. You got abusers, and molesters infiltrated into the program. Not only infiltrated into the program, but infiltrated in the higher levels of this program. So, why is Bhakti Vikas supporting this? Radhanath was the right-hand man for Kirtananda. Look at all the things that were going on in Kirtananda's regime. Children were being molested. People were being beaten up. People were being killed. And then the right-hand man, who was the biggest henchman of that program, Radhanath, is now the hero of Bhakti Vikas Swami? Why is that? Why is Bhakti Vikas supporting this man as a guru? Okay, we'll give Bhakti Vikas some credit. He says Radhanath is a Mayavadi. Well, if he's a Mayavadi, then how is he a guru? Then why are you, associating with the program that is supporting Radhanath as a guru? Make up your mind. Either Radhanath is a guru or he isn't. You can't just say he's a guru, simultaneously he's a Mayavadi. You have to make up your mind, and you're not doing that. You're not making it clear, and therefore you're confusing people. You're just confusing the public. You're confusing the devotees. The devotees are confused. And how did this confusion start? Because of you, Mr. Bhakti Vikas Swami, because of you sitting on the fence and promoting both ideas at the same time. We have to worship Satan. We have to worship Jesus. You can't have both ideas at the same time. You're confusing people. And this is called sahaja. The sahajas, they simultaneously, say gurus are, pure devotees, they're residents of Vaikuntha. Simultaneously, gurus are having sex, they're smoking pot, they're doing all kinds of nonsense things. So this is sahaja, that's all. So Bhakti Vikas is supporting the sahaja program. And every once in a while, some leader of ISKCON will say, well, Mahanidhi is bogus because he's associated with the Babajis of Vrindavan, and then Bhakti Vikas and his people will promote a big paper on sahajas. The sahajas are invading ISKCON. Well, why are you supporting simultaneously the sahajas and criticizing simultaneously the sahajas? You can't be with them and against them at the same time. You have to draw the line. You have to make a line in the sand. This is wrong, this is right. This is black, this is white. This is what Krishna wants, this is not what Krishna wants. Krishna can't want both things simultaneously. So this is the problem we're having with Bhakti Vikas. He's confusing the public, confusing the devotees. He's creating confusion. And guess what happens in all this confusion? Well, him and the other GBC leaders, etc., they all seem to have position and power and money and followers and everything else. They're benefiting from this confusion. That's all. So it's, very sad, but I hate to say it, but there's people capitalizing on creating all of these problems for ISKCON. They're creating these problems for ISKCON for a reason. It's not an accident. They're creating these problems for ISKCON because a certain class of people within ISKCON are benefiting from creating all these problems. And they're benefiting like big time. They're millionaires. If they have a medical problem, they go to the Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. But if the regular devotee has a toothache, well, he has to beg and borrow and try to get some money to go to the dentist. But if some GBC guru has a problem, boom, millions of dollars is spent on his heart surgery over there. No problem for that. If the big guru has a car problem, well, he goes and rents a Cadillac while his other Cadillac is being fixed in the shop. Well, somebody's benefiting and somebody's suffering. So this is called exploitation. So by exploiting the devotees, some people are making out well. And Bhakti Vikas, unfortunately, is supporting the exploiters. And they're not just ordinary exploiters. They're exploiting people in the name of Prabhupada's successors and Krishna's successors. So this is a very, very serious crime. If you want to rob a bank, go rob a bank. But don't go rob the bank and say, I'm robbing the bank on behalf of Krishna. I'm a devotee of Krishna, and therefore I'm authorized to go out and commit crimes and exploit people. This is the worst offense, and this is why, Prabhupada says that these false gurus go to the most obnoxious regions of the universe. Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavatam that there's innumerable hellish planets. Well, that's where these gurus go. They go to the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of these hellish planets, the most abominable regions of the universe, after they finish the spiritual master business. It's a business. That's what I'm trying to say here, that, the reason they're benefiting monetarily is because they've made a business out of being a guru. And Prabhupada has explained that. Yes, being a businessman in the name of guru takes one to the lowest regions of the universe. And guess what else? The followers go there too. That's what Prabhupada says. The followers go with them. So Bhakti Vikas is leading people to the lower regions of the universe. Why is that? What kind of program is that? At least the followers of Christianity, they have some standard. They don't go out and say, Jesus wanted me to kill you. Jesus wanted me to rob this bank. They don't do things on behalf of Jesus. They don't say, I'm a pure devotee of Jesus, therefore I'm a criminal. That's not what they're doing. Because they have some fear of God and some respect for God. So they just say, well, no, I'm a person who can't follow Jesus. And that's why I'm a criminal. They have some honesty. And therefore those people will be elevated. They'll be able to go to some higher platform because they have some respect and love for their guru. But to say, I'm the guru's successor and I'm doing all these criminal activities, this is very, very, very sinful. And this is what Bhakti Vikas doesn't seem to realize. He's associated with the people who are going to the lowest regions of the universe, and he's promoting their program. Well, what's that going to do for him? Where is he going to go? If he's promoting those people and supporting those people and participating in their program of promoting illicit sex with men, women, and children as the Messiah of God. The Messiah of God is engaged in illicit sex with men, women, and children. Where is Bhakti Vikas Swami going to go for promoting that program? We all know. Just read the Shastra. Read about the fifth canto, about the hellish planets where, demons go. And what kind of demons are the worst demons? People who support, debauchees as acharyas. Those people go to the worst hellish destinations. Plain and simple. So this is why Bhakti Vikas Swami is trying to pull back. He's sort of realizing that, which is good. We're giving him some credit. He kind of knows he's going off the cliff, but he's got a long way to go. He's just starting. He's just starting to realize that there's a problem here. But he has no idea of the magnitude of the problem that he's involved with. And he has no idea about the magnitude of the waterfalls that he's now going down and what's going to happen when he hits the rocks on the bottom. Now, another problem that Bhakti Vikas Swami and his friends have created is they're preaching that women should not have a prominent position in ISKCON. Okay, wait a minute. You got homosexuals in the Vyasa because of all of these so-called men in ISKCON. The women don't like that. The women are protesting, so we should go, and criticize the women as a class. No, these women, the women left ISKCON too. The men left, the women also left. The women were disgusted with Bhakti Vikas's program. Why should we attack the women? The women are smarter than he is. The women know you cannot participate in this kind of a program. We are leaving. We're pulling out. He's not pulling out. He's still hanging out with those people, promoting those people, associating with those people, and so on and so forth. So all he's done is he's created websites where women are complaining about the vicious treatment that they're getting in ISKCON. How is that helping ISKCON? He's alienating the woman as a class. So what's happened in ISKCON is, apparently, there's been a pro-homosexual, pro-child molester program and an anti-woman, anti-children, anti-family program. That is the perception people have. And unfortunately, Bhakti Vikas Swami has helped create that impression. Jane Wallace, for example, was a CBS News lady. She's a woman. And she just took one look at Kirtananda, covered with the hands of 50 boys, and she said, this man is in pedophile heaven. So Bhakti Vikas is saying, well, we shouldn't listen to the woman. Why not? These women would have helped you. These women could have saved you from all kinds of degradation. You should have listened to Jane Wallace. You should have listened to the thousands of women who left ISKCON and discussed over this program of worshiping homosexuals as acharyas. Why not listen to the woman? What's the problem? The problem is, these women are smarter than he is. That is the problem. So he's trying to target women as the problem when the women are not the problem. The women were part of the solution. The women said, this is wrong. This should not be done. We should not compromise with this. And they left, because they would not compromise with these deviations. So that means Bhakti Vikas Swami is weaker than the woman. The woman as a class left. He hung on with them. That means he's not up to the standard of a woman. A woman knows you cannot support deviants sitting in a vyasasana. Can't do that. At least most of the women knew that, and most of them left because of that. So this whole woman thing is another, agitation that he's making, which is alienating woman as a class from ISKCON. He's trying to make it look like the women are the problem. No, the women are the solution. You should have listened to them. This would have been solved a long time ago if you had listened to them. Now, another issue Bhakti Vikas Swami is bringing forward is that ISKCON is becoming a mundane welfare program because they're feeding poor children. Well, that's the only good publicity we're getting. If it wasn't for the free food program in India, what kind of good publicity would we have? All the publicity that's being created otherwise is just bad publicity. So we got a little shred of good publicity, and that's not a good idea. We shouldn't do that. But Madhu Pandit has, given ISKCON a good name in India with his free food program. So why not allow that? Why not allow Krishna to have a good name at least somewhere? No, we can't do that. Now we have to try to put Madhu Pandit in jail. That's what Bhakti Vikas's program wants to do. Let's put Madhu Pandit in jail. Let's shut down the free food program. Then we won't have any good publicity at all. The one little sliver of good publicity we have, we need to shut that down. How does that help? So it's mundane welfare activity. Let's shut it down. Well, then we'll have nothing. Let's have just no good publicity anywhere, on any level, on any scale. How is this helping at all? I just don't get it. Madhu Pandit's program is providing good publicity. We're getting support from politicians and famous people all over India. They like what we're doing. They're supporting what we're doing. Why not allow that to go on? Why not build up at least some sort of semblance that the Hare Krishna movement is not just a corrupt operation that doesn't help anybody? And as far as the mundane schools go, well, we didn't start that. Again, that's the ISKCON program. ISKCON started these schools, and now Bhakti Vikas Swami says they've just become a mundane curriculum. Well, okay, but again, we didn't start those programs. Those were programs that his program started. So why did they start these kinds of schools? Well, the reason is simple. We had the Gurukulas going, and they destroyed that program. They destroyed the Gurukulas by putting molesters in there, and so now we've got the fallback position is to have some kind of a mundane school run by mundane people, giving a mundane curriculum. Well, that's because they destroyed the original idea to make schools where we would have a spiritual curriculum. That's not what we did. That's what his program did. So that's the fault of his program. So why didn't he say a long time ago, hey, we can't have molesters in the schools. We've got to clean all this up. We've got to get rid of Bhavananda. We've got to get rid of Satadanya. We've got to get rid of Jayapatanka. We've got to get rid of all these people that are creating all this molestation in our schools, in ISKCON. And after Kirtananda's place was busted by the police, wouldn't we say, all the people in that operation who were supporting Kirtananda should be not given a position of authority in ISKCON? No. Radhanath is given the position of Acharya. Devamrita is given the position of Acharya. Tapapunj is in charge over there. Tapapunj gets out of jail for assisting murder, and then right away he's given a big post over there. Kuladri was in charge of the whole operation when all these crimes are going on. He's getting a salary, and he's still a leader. Why doesn't Bhakti Vikas ever address these issues? We cannot have the people who created all this corruption and all this molesting and all these other problems. We cannot put them in positions of authority. And look at the pattern. When Jayachirtha is having a problem, they cover it up. When Ummapati is having a problem, they cover it up. When Prabhu Vishnu is having a problem, they cover it up. They just wait until there's a crisis. And then, they start to deal with it only at that time when the whole situation just blows out into a big explosion, and it's a total crisis, and thousands of people are being alienated in ISKCON, and then they start to say a few words about it, but what did they say? They just say, well, you need to accept another guru, one of the gurus who was voted in by the people who are falling down. Prabhu Vishnu voted in some other people. He's falling down now, so now you got to worship the people that he voted in. Does that make any sense at all? In other words, you have to stay within the confines of the corrupt situation. There's no pure alternative. Bhakti Vikas Swami is not creating a pure alternative. He's still saying, you have to go along with all the people who, deviated and all the people who covered up all these deviations. So there's no purity. He's not even recommending any purity. He's saying, well, Prabhupada didn't approve of this and Prabhupada didn't approve of that. Well, okay, but should we worship Prabhupada now as the Acharya? Well, no, we can't do that. So we have Prabhu Vishnu, dressed in white now, and look who's sitting next to Prabhu Vishnu, smiling. Bhakti Vikas, he's sitting there, he's going along with this. This guy's basically, Prabhu Vishnu is being allowed back in. He's being allowed back in and to be some kind of a leader. So why doesn't Bhakti Vikas, say, excuse me, this guy cannot have a position of leadership. He has corrupted the standards of Acharya. He should be allowed only to wash pots. That's it. But no, Prabhu Vishnu is being accepted back as some kind of a leader again. And so is Umapati. And so is this guy, and so is that guy. They're all floating around, being worshipped in different places around ISKCON. So the situation is simply not being corrected. And look at Satsarup. Satsarup, had an affair with his therapist. He writes all kinds of crazy books. And he says, I'm the guru of pills. And, he writes stuff like this. Yeah, he makes crazy art. He's just writing crazy stuff all the time. Does Bhakti Vikas ever say, excuse me, we can't be distributing this guy's books in ISKCON? I don't know. We don't see him really coming out strong on the real issues that count. Now, Bhakti Vikas Swami seems to be associated with this Danavir website, oneiskcon.com. One ISKCON seems to be backing away from some of the major problems that the GBC gurus have. I mean, I've seen statements on there that they're saying gurus are not appointed, gurus are not voted in, and we shouldn't have this system. Okay, but how did Danavir become a guru? Well, he was voted in by the GBC. How did Bhakti Vikas Swami become a guru? Well, he was voted in by the GBC. So, guru by voting system, 2/3 show of hands voting. This is a bogus process, but these people are participating in the process. So how is that helping? Well, if you're at the top of the Communist Party and you're saying communism is bogus because the lesser class people will never have a chance to advance, okay, but you're still part of the leadership of the Communist Party, so you're not really trying to change anything. So sometimes the big leader will admit, well, yeah, our system is wrong, it's corrupt, it's bogus, but he's not really doing any meaningful thing to change that system. So one ISKCON, okay, we want to change ISKCON. What's the first thing we're going to do? Well, we're going to put the bogusly appointed gurus who are appointed by homosexuals and deviants, like Danavir and Bhakti Vikas and others, we're going to make them the leaders of the One ISKCON website. Well, no, the first thing they have to do is resign from their posts as voted-in gurus. They have to say, we cannot accept a guru certification from the same people who voted in homosexuals and child molesters as gurus. We cannot accept a certification from these people. Anyway, we will give Bhakti Vikas Swami some credit. He's making some waves within ISKCON. He's making some admissions of truth. But so far, he's only admitted 1% of the wrong that's going on. The other 99%, he hasn't touched it. So we're waiting for him to start to really get to the root issues and really try to make the corrections that need to be done. And the first correction is, you cannot say that bogus people are acharyas. That's number one. And that's been going on since 1977. Bogus people are acharyas. That's the whole theme, and that's the whole sum and substance of the GBC idea. He's gone along with that. He's participated with that. He's friends with all those people. He sits around with those people. He pals around with those people. And until he breaks away from that, nothing of substance will be done. Now, one of the 10 offenses to the holy name is to consider that the guru is an ordinary man. This is very offensive, but Bhakti Vikas' program, the guru is not even an ordinary man. The ordinary man is not engaged in illicit sex with men, women, and children. So the acharyas in Bhakti Vikas' program are not even as advanced as an ordinary man. So the good news is that Krishna consciousness and actually everything in this material world is an evolutionary process. So eventually, Bhakti Vikas will take birth in a situation where he will at least consider an ordinary man as an acharya. He might come to that platform eventually. Right now, his position is that debauchees and degraded people and even molesters are acharyas. So he is not even as advanced as worshiping an ordinary man. But even in cannibal society, they don't worship illicit sex with men, women, and children. So, at some point, some of these people will take birth as cannibals, and they will not be worshiping illicit sex with men, women, and children, because at least cannibals worship lightning or a mountain or a tiger. They worship something that's actually a wonderful creation of God. So eventually, these people may take birth in a cannibal society, and they might be elevated enough to worship some wonderful creation of God. Meanwhile, they're promoting the worship of the most degraded, debauched behavior in the universe. So that means they're definitely not going to be liberated. So when Bhakti Vikas says ISKCON cannot liberate anyone, he's talking about himself. So how will history record all this? It's already being recorded. Just like the early Christians, they wanted to worship Jesus, and so they were thrown to the lions and persecuted in so many different ways. And the same thing happened to the worshippers of Prabhupada. They wanted to worship Prabhupada, and the Bhakti Vikas program banned them, beat them, sued them, and sometimes killed them. This is what happened as soon as somebody raised their hand and says, I want to worship the pure devotee Srila Prabhupada. Bam! They were persecuted by the Bhakti Vikas program. But it doesn't matter. It's just like the early Christians. You can throw us to the lions, you can ban us, you can beat us, you can sue us, you can kill us, but we're going to worship the pure devotee. We don't care. We're not going to worship illicit sex with men, women, and children. We're just not going to do that. It doesn't matter what Bhakti Vikas' program does, says, how many millions they spend suing us. None of that is going to matter. We are not going to surrender to that program, no matter what. So we're making good progress, and I feel very, very confident that things are turning the corner right now. And the Bhakti Vikas admission that mostly the GBC program is bogus is just another sign that their ship is sinking, and he's trying to bail out some water, but it's way too little, way too late. The Titanic is now at a 45-degree angle going down. Bhakti Vikas is out there with his bucket. It's not going to save the ship. Their bogus guru empire is going to go down. And that's all there is to it. And we all know that. We've known that all along. It's just that now it's accelerating. So this is very good. We're glad that all this is developing right now. And we feel very confident that Krishna is going to revive ISKCON, and the revival will be based on reestablishing the worship of the Acharya and getting rid of the worship of illicit sex with men, women, and children. That will be eliminated. It's just a question of time. It's a war of attrition. We're winning the war. And the day will come when all of the people who supported the worship of illicit sex with men, women, and children as God's successors will have to face Yamaraj and answer for that. And I thank God I'm not going to be one of those people. Hari Bol.